Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I've borrowed this 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This is the L trim level for my friends at Hebert's Town & Country. And I'll list all of the trim levels on the screen and their base prices in case you're curious to know a little bit more about what is available, where the pricing starts. And don't worry, I'll give you the price on the screen. In fact, when you see the screenshot from the dealership website, that is where you will see the price. But I'll give that later on in the video just in case you missed that. As long as this model remains in inventory, which probably won't be much longer, the link down in the description of the video will take you to the website so you can learn a little bit more about it so we don't make a video that's an hour long. For 2021, you will find that the Cherokee has plush interior with plentiful luxury and technology. More than enough off-road capabilities to conquer just about any trail out there, and the available V8 engine offers substantial horsepower and torque. In the case of this particular model, it is powered by the 3.6-liter V6 that we will talk more about shortly. The exterior color is diamond black crystal pearl coat, and that is accented by a global black interior. Both front and rear wipers are fixed interval wipers and heated as well, although that is definitely something not needed for a long while to come here in Northwest Louisiana. Lighting for nighttime driving is provided via auto on-off projector beam LED headlights. Deep tinted glass fits in perfectly with the exterior color, and the 20-inch polished aluminum wheels are wrapped with 265/50 tires, allowing for maximum traction in all driving conditions. Under this particular model is the 3.6-liter V6, 293 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque, putting power to the ground through the four-wheel drive system when you wish to use that through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Gas mileage comes in at an estimated 18 miles per gallon city, 25 out on the highway, and a combined total of 21. When it comes to cargo and towing, I will give you the numbers as to what exactly you have with this particular model and based on what's under the hood. And to maximize your cargo space, of course, this being the 7-passenger model, you're gonna have these extra seats back here in the third row, the 2 seats back here in the third row. But the good news is that if you're back here and you're saying, I want to maximize my cargo space, right over here on the right-hand side of the rear cargo area, you will find the buttons to allow you to not only lower these rear seats automatically, but the middle row seats as well. Now, just a side note here, in case you are wondering, you can automatically raise these rear seats back up, but you'll have to do so by hand or manually with those middle row seats. Not a big deal, they're not real heavy or anything like that. And underneath the floor, a little bit of cargo space. Now, one thing that I like here, not anything new or unusual, of course, you have a power rear lift gate. But if you're maybe somebody who's vertically challenged, or maybe it has to do with the height of the ceiling where you park your Jeep Cherokee and you're saying that's a little bit too high for me for whatever reason it may be, you can lower it down by just simply pulling like this. And then there's a button here on the left-hand side. When you hold that button down, it's going to beep a couple of times. And what that means is when you lower this rear lift gate back down and then open it back up, it's going to stop at the place where you set it. So depending on what your situation and or desires are, well, there you go. You've got a great option. Now, it may look like there's not a lot of space for those 2 rear seat passengers, but underneath both of these seats here, you can pull on the release to move these seats back and forth. And as you can see, if kids are sitting here in the middle row, they can move these seats way up with shorter legs at least, depending on your height, and give the rear seat passengers quite a bit of room. Of course, I'll show you what's back there as far as cup holders, connectivities. You've got air conditioning vents on the pillars here, so everyone's going to be staying nice and cool. You've got multi-zone climate control. They can control everything here in the rear, on the rear of the console, as you can see. And of course, you have more connectivity back here as well. And as I hop inside, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of headspace and all that kind of stuff, keep in mind the passenger seat is leaned way back and pretty far back as well. So it probably looks like I don't have as much leg room, but honestly, it's really not that terribly bad, at least for me. And of course, you also have the panoramic sunroof that middle row seat passengers can definitely take advantage of, as can the rear seat passengers, and give you a real good look at exactly how that looks from that perspective. And as I hop into the driver's seat here, hitting the push button start to fire the engine up and get a little bit of air conditioning going on this rather warm Louisiana day, let's talk a little bit about what you'll find here with the front seat. Of course, you've got the heated steering wheel, heated seats, features you would probably expect, a lot of connectivity throughout. Of course, you've got USB ports and another 12-volt power outlet, so if you needed a third USB port, you could pick up the adapter to turn that 12-volt into another USB port. And I talked about the luxury that's throughout this Cherokee. One of those areas where you'll see that is on the dial gear selector here for shifting into reverse, park, all that good stuff. Just something to take a look at. Of course, with the air ride suspension, you can change the height of the vehicle, and I'll give you a look at what that looks like on the screen, playing around with that in the parking lot earlier at the dealership. And multiple driving modes, which you can select here to the left of the steering wheel. I'll show you what those modes are on the screen. And just a quick glance at the instrument cluster and some of the different features and functionality there. Of course, you can control everything here on the left-hand side of the steering wheel with those steering wheel mounted controls. You've got your shifter paddles here on the back if you want to shift manually in sport mode and have a little bit of fun, or maybe you can take advantage of that when you're off-roading. You also have the controls on the rear of the steering wheel for controlling the volume and stations on your stereo, or radio I should say. And across the top of the infotainment screen, several different buttons here of things you can turn on and off. And one feature I like to turn off is that auto stop start feature. And you might say, Tom, why do you like to do that? It's quite simple, actually. You will save the life of your starter by doing so. So I promised you that I would give you the price if you didn't see that earlier on the screen. Exactly what is that? $59,525 and what's on the sticker on this particular model, and you get quite a bit for that. Comfortable seating, comfortable steering wheel, all the latest and greatest technology, a very nice infotainment screen with so many different features and functionality options that I'm not dare going to try and go through all of that. Of course, dual zone climate control here in the front, as you would expect, and got the cup holders here. You've got a kind of a multi-stage center console here. If you want to know how big the interior is, I'll guarantee you could fit a good 5 to maybe 8 Vehicle Visionary t-shirts. Link in the description of the video if you want to buy one, or 8 to find out if they'll fit in the console. So one thing we're going to do here is a literal quick test drive, because this model has already been purchased. And so I don't want to do anything more than just drive it back to the dealership, but we'll take the longest way possible to get there without going kind of out of the way. But let's just see what we can learn on a quick test drive. Okay guys, I'm going to try and make the most of my time here because it's rather short today for our test drive. A couple of things that I wanted to mention here. Of course, you're going to have power driver and passenger seats. You have a power adjustable tilt and telescopic steering wheel, and of course pretty much anything you would expect to be on that. And if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments as far as maybe something I didn't cover today, to try and keep the video from being, well, too terribly long. I'm trying to cut down on your time that it takes to watch my videos. Tell me, how long would you like to see a Vehicle Visionary video be? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What are you interested in? So as we cruise down the road here, I am in sport mode, of course, as you would expect. And hey, based on our typical situation, bad driver to the right, good driver to the left. One used their blinker, one did not. Got a comment on that because so many of you like my sarcastic remarks when I'm out doing test drives. But anyway, ride quality. Well, with that air ride suspension, obviously it's going to be good and comfortable. And even though I don't necessarily have an opportunity to get out on multiple road surfaces, these are roads I drive quite often, so it's soaking up the bumps rather well. Steering is good and responsive, as you would expect. Good and tight. I always like a good tight feel to the steering because you just feel more in control when you're driving something that responds in such a way. And as we're driving up here to slow down for the light, get on the brake pedal just a little bit. The brake pedal is seeming to be pretty well adjusted. Kind of a nice balance of a brake pedal that's not too soft and not too aggressive. It's always nice to get in a vehicle that you haven't driven before and not have to adjust to your touch, so to speak, or adjust your touch to the feel of the brake pedal because it's overly aggressive. Definitely not a situation in this particular case. And just overall, I must say, driving over to our filming location today, and we're driving back now, I've been pretty impressed. Haven't really been able to do a good acceleration test, just not enough space to do that. But I have driven other vehicles with this same engine combination under the hood, and can definitely tell you that 293 horsepower, it's enough to get the job done. You're not going to have any trouble accelerating up to highway speeds and different situations you might run into. And of course, the good news is that if that's not enough for you, well, there are some options out there for more horsepower. Just going to kind of ease into it just a little bit here. Definitely no problem with acceleration. I'm just barely easing into the gas pedal, so that definitely tells me a lot right there. If you get into a situation where you need to accelerate at a faster rate, well, this little 3.6 liter isn't going to let you down. So overall, I must say I'm pretty impressed with my experience here. Really can't give too much feedback just because of the fact that I can't drive too terribly far. We're literally about 1/8 mile or so away from the dealership right now. I have to say a special thanks to my friends at Hebert's Town & Country for loaning me this Cherokee for the day, and of course all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, make sure to check out another video such as what is on the screen right now. I would really appreciate that. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.